Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2 here, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May. I keep saying Daryl Ray. It's just not, that's just wrong. Call Daryl Ray. I don't know if he can buy or sell your home at all. If you call Daryl May, he can for sure. We call Colin Cheater, and he shows up every single Tuesday, former Tiger tight end, now at the LSU Alumni Association. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Tigers back in the win column this week.
We're back. Who's going to be the coach? You know, Colin, you work for the Alumni Association. You played there. Who's the coach going to be?
You know, I have about 80,000 people who think I know who the next head coach is going to be, and I could promise you it's not going to be me, but that's all I know.
The first text I got this morning was at like 6:15 a.m. asking about it. So people are not bashful. That's okay. Nothing whips this town into a frenzy faster than a coaching search. What's your take on all this? You didn't grow up in Baton Rouge, and forever and ever, we never had coaching searches. We just had less for a very, very long time. Now we got coaching search every 3 years, it seems like.
Isn't it crazy? I was just telling someone the other day, when I got to LSU and I remember seeing Les Miles walk out for the first time, I just went, man, there's the Mad Hatter. That's Mr. LSU, all this. Who'd have thought that, and that was 2014, that now 10 years later we'd be, on our fourth coach since then?
Yeah, that's just the way it's going. And it's something, it creates more interest than really anything that we do. Because, like, when you have a great team that's competing for a championship, everything's uncertainties. Like, you know when the next game is and who you're going to play, and like, so you can break that stuff down. But this is just anything goes. It's just a ton of opportunity, and so it creates just this crazy rumor mill that is, quite frankly, out of control. Like, what's the wildest thing you've heard? Because I talked about two things earlier today. We got Lane Kiffin's kids getting monster NIL deals from high schools. Not true. Heard Lane was eating dinner at one of the prominent restaurants in town last night, which clearly isn't true. Like, there's no way the Ole Miss coach would just be hanging out at the bar in a Baton Rouge restaurant, during the bye week. Like, if he was meeting with LSU officials, probably in a back room somewhere, not just out in the open so everyone can take pictures and put it on Instagram.
I agree. I think my favorite part of this whole thing so far is the fact that someone went out and hid in the bushes of BTR Airport to take pictures of
that did happen.
A random plane on the private tarmac. So it's people go to all these links to kind of get that top end information. But man, I've heard so many different things. I have no clue who it's going to be. I'm excited to see who it will be, but I don't know when it's going to happen based on if someone's a playoff coach or not, if it's a retired coach, if it's someone from here, there, it's all over. So I prefer just to wait and see. I feel like my thing with this is every time a coaching search happens, it feels like we're dead set on one or two guys, and then out of the blue, someone else ends up being the coach. So I almost kind of just want to step back and not even trust what I'm hearing.
That said, what would you think about Kiffin?
I think Kiffin would be cool. I think a lot of people would be excited. He's obviously an offensive guy. I think he'd hang up points. He's got the kind of uniqueness to him that I feel like fits in with the Les Miles, the Coach O, kind of that unique personality. I think there's some pieces that would fit, but I don't know. It's obviously Verge's decision and the board of supervisors and everybody else. I'm confident they're going to get somebody who works for us, but again, with Lane, it's like, okay, is he going to leave Ole Miss in the first place? So it's up in the air.
Yeah, I would say it's up in the air. It is. It's quite up in the air. So let's talk about some things that are a little bit more right in front of us. LSU wins on Saturday, as you said. So 11-45 kick. Wouldn't say it was the most raucous environment we've ever seen, but they got it done late when they had to. What did you see from the Tigers on Saturday?
That's right. Well, we started the day off with extra bacon for the breakfast tailgate because the game started so early. So that was win number one of the day. Win number two, obviously, Tigers go out and perform. Just really made plays to make it happen. I liked Van Buren getting in there. There was a big play towards the end of the game where he took off for like a 40-yard run that I think that aspect of his game kind of provides that new wrinkle like we talked about last week. But I thought it was great. I thought the Tigers really rallied around Coach Frank, and they have these past 2 weeks. Obviously, the week before just made some key mistakes. But I think Frank's a guy who's an authentic leader who that team really rallies around, and it proved out in the end. We got to go back and grab that big gold trophy that the team up north cares so much about, and kept it at home.
Okay, let's get into that because I was taken off guard. I was in the press box, and the game goes final. And right when the game goes final, I send a text message to Brian Haldane, who's our producer on postgame, at the time the game ends, because I know that's when I start my 90-minute clock to when I finish. So that's the first thing I do. And then I look up. And I look up from the press box, and the game has ended. And LSU has got 18 dudes running from the sideline to the north end zone to grab that boot. Now, everybody loves to say, like, LSU doesn't care about that. Only Arkansas cares. We don't care about Arkansas. I don't care about the boot. And all. I saw like 20 guys running to get the boot. It seemed like they cared a little bit about it.
Here's what I'll say. And I was there when we lost it and got it back. I feel like when you get it back, when you feel like it belongs to you, then that's a big deal. I also felt like this week it was less about the trophy and more about bringing that home to Coach Frank. I really think the team rallied around and wanted to provide that to him. I love that video of him after the game running in and jumping into the locker room and all those guys really embracing him. I do think this game was about doing it for Frank and everything he's provided for LSU, and I think it really shows that authentic leadership he has.
It's something that I talk about a lot because fans and players don't approach things the same. It's just I know a ton of fans. I've talked to a lot of players. You were one. Like, they're not checked out. Like, you saw. I mean, if you saw the effort, it got down 14-0. They could have easily quit. It was noon, and they were down 14-0. They come back and win. The celebration's huge on the field afterwards. The celebration's huge in the locker room. Like, they just want to win. Like, they're not thinking that much about Lane Kiffin on the course of a week, and they're not as concerned with who the next. They get an opportunity to go out there and play, and they want to win. And I think you saw that emotion in those videos that came out.
I agree. I think the team still shows up. Like we said, after last week, you show up to practice on Monday morning, and you've got a whole new mission this week. So I think they continue to go out and prove that they're playing for each other, playing for the guys in the building. I was happy to see the win. I'm happy to see them continue to fight. We got 2 more big games coming up. Obviously, this last one's senior night at home this week, and then we'll travel up to Oklahoma, which is going to be a tough game. But I think this team wants to finish strong. I think they rally around all the guys in the room, around the head coach, around the people in the building. I was very happy with what I saw on Saturday.
Now you're getting to a point, and you may have touched on this here, but like, you had Frank's first game against Alabama. You had the battle for the boot, SEC game, home game, Frank's first time coming out of the tunnel, whatever you want to slice it. New quarterback started. Like, there are angles that I can find for motivation for those games. I think it's a little bit tougher for Western Kentucky in November when the playoffs out of the picture. Frank's now been the coach for a month. Like, how do you think they get charged up for Saturday?
Well, I'll say one thing. It is senior day, and
that's what I was saying. You were touching on.
As a player, obviously as a senior, when it's your last go around, that's you get into that locker room, you kind of run out. They do the event pregame with your parents, and it's obviously a big emotional deal. But even as an underclassman or a junior, you watch those guys run out, and you think of all the times you've had together, whether that's in the weight room and fourth quarter drills and the meeting rooms, all that kind of stuff, and you realize, man, those guys are going out. Like, let's send them off with a bang. Let's get one last win at home. Let's give these guys what they deserve, which is a senior day win. I think the team rallies around that. I know it's a late season opponent that we feel like we're, of course, overmatched. But anytime it's senior day and you kind of get the emotion of it, realizing that another class is going out, I think the team really rallies around those seniors.
Gordy Rush from here often says that, like, he's not a big fan of the senior day ceremony thing, not because he thinks it's a bad thing to do. It's a great thing to do, but it may take away from your focus, your routine. It may drain you emotionally. Like, it's not in your normal routine, and then you got to do something completely different going out there. Like, what's your experience in that, and like, how do you feel like the best way to handle that is?
Well, it's tough because, I'd love to tell you it's all no big deal and everything, but we lost my senior day, so I just think that was more about the game itself. But I don't know. I have to disagree with Gordy there. I don't think that takes away too much. I think you get your moment as a senior, as a player, for everything you've been through, and then you kind of rally back into the locker room. That's all right, guys. We did it. Let's lock in. Let's win the game. Because all this is fine and dandy, but if you don't win the game, I sit and stare at a football in my office from 2016. That's kind of a sore subject. So if you don't win the game, it's kind of all for nothing. I think you refocus and do what it takes to win. And obviously, this is an opponent we should beat. I think I disagree with Gordy. I think they do what they need to do to win.
Defense, nice effort against Arkansas. Good Arkansas defense, held them to 15 points on that side of the ball. They had to block, kick, punt, obviously, for a touchdown, but 15 points that offense scored. That was a welcome sight, I think, and hopefully something to build on this week. Yeah,
I think we finally, everyone's talking about the running quarterback, and we've talked about it, and it seems like we finally shut one down. So I was very happy to see that. Like you said, they got the punt block, which was an easy 7, but outside of that, we did a good job containing them. Defense rallied around. I think they did a good job of trying to keep him in the pocket, or at least dressing him enough where he couldn't make accurate throws. But for our defense to do that against Arkansas opponent who averaged 30-something points a game, I thought that was huge. So I was happy to see it. I'm hoping we finish out these last 2 weeks that same effort.
What's going on with the Alumni Association?
Oh, man, the Alumni Association is doing great. We do not know who the head coach is going to be. But, if you want to keep calling, I'm happy to just continue to have conversations with everybody. But as far as this week, we've got a big event. Of course, we launched the Business Network as part of our plethora of things we do at the Alumni Association. We've got one this Thursday night. It's going to be at a DSLD show home in Gonzales. If you're interested, it's a lot of great business leaders in the area that get together, kind of talk about everything they've got going on, rally behind the purple and gold and the pride of LSU. It's a great event. I'd highly recommend coming out. It's 5:30, 7 o'clock on Thursday. If you want any information or you have any questions, just feel free to call us up at the Alumni Association. You can ask for me, Colin Jeter, or Lauren Kiffin. We'll be happy to help and kind of get you lined up and part of the association.
And if you want to know who the next head coach is going to be, Colin knows. He'll be one of the first to know. You can call him up. He'll let you know, and then you can get into your Alumni Association.
We may or may not announce it Thursday night, so you might want to attend the event.
Come on out to the DSLD home showroom, and we'll tell you who the coach is going to be, and you can network. It won't end until it ends. We know that very well, and we appreciate you giving us a little bit of time here on this Tuesday. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Hunt.
Colin Jeter, the LSU Alumni Association, former Tiger tight end. Back with more. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that is on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. When you think Genesis, you should think luxury line of vehicles. It absolutely is. When you think luxury line of vehicles, don't immediately go, well, I obviously can't afford that. You don't know until you try. The brand at Genesis and the message there is it's a luxury brand at a reasonable price. So get on by and see them. Just ask. Put it on your list. Airline at Pico. If you're in Baton Rouge, you're in the market for a car, you're probably going to be on Airline anyway because that's where most of the dealerships are. Just make that one stop at Pico across from Women's Hospital and see the good folks at Genesis. An amazing staff, wonderful line of vehicles, and every single model in the line is an IAHS top safety pick. So every single one is one of the safest cars on the road. Whether you're single, got a big family, no matter what your situation is, Genesis has a model for you. Get on by and see them, Airline at Pico, or check out the entire inventory online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May Remax Partners.
Every single Tuesday, our show brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners, licensed realtor, Louisiana and Mississippi. You can reach out to Daryl at darylmayproperties.com. That's darylmayproperties.com or 268-6915. Whether you're looking for homes, whether you're looking for land, whether you're looking for commercial buildings, serving South Louisiana and the Mississippi Gulf Coast, that is Daryl May of Remax Partners. Let me go down this path with you, if you'll allow me, because I'm getting so many questions, so many texts, there's so much discussion, and some of it kind of falls in line together. Sometimes you get crazy stuff, and I've mentioned that, but what's everyone's favorite word when it comes to Lane Kiffin? Everyone's favorite word, trolling. Everyone says troll, 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 troll. This is all a big troll. And let me address that. It's not an unreasonable thing to say because Lane Kiffin is a troll. He loves to get on Twitter and post about rat poison. He loves to needle Nick Saban when Saban was around.
Brian Kelly.
He loves to troll. He loves to talk about Kirby Smart, and he hadn't burned a lot of calories. Like, it's just, this is something that Lane Kiffin enjoys doing on social media. Here is why I don't think this is a troll in its entirety. I've seen like Barrett Sallee use the term 4D chess. This is all a leverage play. Leverage, leverage, leverage. Here's the situation. Like, if you want to tell me that Lane Kiffin is trolling, who is he trolling? Are you suggesting that he's trolling Florida and LSU fans by sending his family on private aircraft flights and not signing Ole Miss's contract extension to give them hope only to say no? Like, that's kind of an elaborate plan to troll two other fan bases. If you're telling me that he's trying to troll Ole Miss's fan base, well, okay, but he's still their coach. I don't know that if he's trying to stay at Ole Miss and is trolling them, which is irritating elected officials, boosters, people connected with that program, and toying with assistants' families by them kind of not feeling like they know for sure they're going to be there. Like, that's a lot of people in Oxford to be rubbing the wrong way. If you're telling me this is a leverage play, this is just Jimmy Sexton puppeteering everybody. Does it every year, Sexton season, Thanksgiving time, got to get that Christmas bonus, all Uncle Jimmy pulling all the strings. Like, Lane Kiffin's got a $13 million extension to be the head coach at Ole Miss in front of him. Do we think that, like, 16's on the table here? I don't know about that. I don't think this is about money. Lane has consistently said, I'm not making decisions based on money. And while he is a troll and he is a little quirky, he's been pretty candid since turning over a new leaf in Oxford, and the sobriety and the hot yoga and reconciling with his ex-wife. And, like, generally speaking, he's been pretty straightforward outside of struggling with taking jobs. And he has come out and said in that E60 interview that he did, in that piece that talked about 2 years ago with Auburn, he was not leveraging Ole Miss out of money. He was going to go to Auburn. And then Landry put the slideshow together about the family in Oxford and the whole thing, and the personal side of it said, I'm going to stay. But that wasn't a money thing. Like, sometimes the simplest answer is the answer. I think that's Occam's razor. That may be incorrect, but I think that's what that is. And the simplest answer seems pretty clear to me as to what's going on here. You've got a coach in Oxford who likes to be the head coach at Ole Miss and is winning games. He also believes, based on his time at Tennessee, his time at Alabama, his time at USC, and the stadiums that he's gone into as Ole Miss's coach, that there is a level above Ole Miss on this college football totem pole. And he probably wants to do that. But is he sure? If Ole Miss was 8-3 right now, we would not be having this conversation. The timing of this makes it brutal. It's not a troll. It's not a huge leverage play from Jimmy Sexton. It's probably just this. Here's the extension to stay at Ole Miss right here. Got it right here. Extension to stay at Ole Miss. That'd be pretty cool. I'd make a lot of money. We're in the playoffs. Awesome. Collective's good. Athletic director's good. Town loves me. Family's here. Like, this is pretty good contract here. Here is the $13.5 million to go to LSU. Ed Ogeron won a championship there. Les Miles won a championship there. They got access to better players in state. 100,000-seat stadium. They always get night games. I've complained about that forever. Like, that's a pretty cool spot. No, by the way, like Nick Saban said, that was a pretty good spot to work. Like, that's pretty good too. But then I have to leave the playoff. And here's $13.5 million to go to Gainesville. Layla's family's from there. Huge stadium. Urban won. Spurrier won. I idolize Spurrier. Like, that's a pretty good deal. I like that. I like LSU. I think Ole Miss looks good. And so I don't really have to make a decision right this second. I'd really like to coach this team in the playoff, but I can't do that if I take one of these. Am I going to have to make a decision based on this month? What December could hold? I've worked for this my whole life. Could be in the playoff. Or am I making a decision for the next 10 years? Which, oh, by the way, will make the next month suck. Because leaving Oxford in a championship contender that's 10-1 and ranked in the top 6 in the country, that sucks. To go to a team that just fired its coach and has lost 4, 5, 6 games and got to restart everything. Got to move the whole family. Got to go do it. Now, in 3 years, it might be awesome. Might not, but it might be. But the next month's going to suck. It's a hard decision. I don't think he's trolling. I don't think he's leveraging Keith Carter out of money. I don't think Jimmy Sexton is doing that. I think Lane Kiffin doesn't know what he wants to do for sure. And I don't know what he's going to do. This is the same thing that happened 2 years ago when he finally turned down Auburn. But I'll tell you this, Ole Miss is not going to do this every single November. And they're going to get tired of it. And there are people in North Mississippi that are cranky right now with Lane Kiffin. It seems unfathomable that they could be cranky with a guy that brought them to heights that they've never been to. But they're cranky right now. You just pay attention. Look at Twitter. Read the replies to Lane Kiffin's tweets. Go read the replies to his devotional tweets. It's you would have never thought that a coach that's going to win 50 games in 5 years is going to have the Ole Miss fans cranky, but they are. So I'm out on trolling. I'm out on massive leverage. It's not a big joke or a scheme. He's not just sitting back giggling, thinking, look, I've got everybody whipped up into a frenzy. This is hilarious. And he's not stopping it. It's just a runaway freight train of media coverage. That's the only thing anybody's talking about. It's worse here and in Oxford and in Gainesville than it is anywhere else. But go look at the national media and what they've tweeted about in the last 24 hours. What they've written columns about. Almost all of it is LSU, Lane Kiffin, Florida, Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin. This is the national story in the sport on a night where they're going to announce the updated college football playoff rankings. And everybody's talking about two teams that are nowhere near the playoff and one team that's got a bye week this week. I think that's the simplest answer, and I think it's the answer. I can see it going any way. I don't have a great handle on which way it'll go. I'd like him to be at LSU. I think he'd win a lot of games here. But I'm not buying. I'm really the last person to get into conspiracy theories anyway, but I'm not buying one here. I don't think it's a big racket that ends in a big dud. Something's coming. And I don't know when, but it's going to happen eventually. Now, the question that may pop up here is what if Lane Kiffin doesn't come to Baton Rouge? Well, there is a coach that may be next on the list, and there's news about his quarterback. LSU quarterback situation, not super awesome right now. Let's talk about that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com is the website. I was at Swing Easy Golf Club yesterday, and I'm going to be there on Sunday. And when I'm there on Sunday at 11 o'clock on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube stream, at 11 o'clock, we're going to stream live until I make a hole-in-one. Might be 5 swings. Probably not. Might be 500 swings. Maybe. Might be 5,000 swings. I don't know how long I'm going to be there. I'm hitting until I get a hole-in-one on number 7 at Pebble. You get the chance to win when I go do this. You go to the Instagram post. It's going to be up there later today, so keep in mind I'll repost it when it's up there. You guess how many swings it's going to take me to make a hole-in-one. You get closest to how many swings it takes me to make a hole-in-one. You're going to win swag bag from us. You're going to win hoops tickets. You're going to win a 2-hour session at Swing Easy Golf Club just for guessing right. You got to go comment on Facebook or on Instagram how many swings you think, and the winner will be announced when I make one, which hopefully is sooner rather than later, on Sunday. I hit a few balls yesterday, had a few roll pretty close. It's only a 103-yard shot. We'll see, but I'm excited that we'll be streaming live Sunday at 11 o'clock. Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, online, swingeasygcbr.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May Remax Partners.
All right, so Lane Kiffin's all the news. You got it. We've covered that significantly today. So let's step outside the Lane Kiffin bubble. What if Lane Kiffin stays at Ole Miss? What if he goes to Florida? LSU's still looking around, right? And the betting favorite as of yesterday, we posted this on LouisianaSports.net to land the job, which doesn't really mean anything, but it's a talking point. Was Kenny Dillingham from Arizona State. I'll be candid. Like, I know of Kenny Dillingham. I know what he sounds like. I know that he was in the playoff last year. I haven't dug much beyond that, but I understand that he is a hot name. I understand he's done a good job at Arizona State. And I think that it makes some sense to think that LSU would have him on the list if Lane Kiffin falls through. What's interesting is that today there's a report from On3, Pete Nakos, as well as Steve Wiltfong, reported that Arizona State quarterback Sam Leavitt is actively shopping. Let's see, what is it? Learned that the camp of Arizona State quarterback Sam Leavitt is actively shopping the talented passer, quote unquote, at a high level to other programs with the plan of entering the transfer portal when the window opens on January 2nd. Now, there have been conflicting reports on this. Some have said he could command a deal with an annual compensation exceeding $2 million if he enters the portal. Leavitt's potential move is to test the market, not a sign that there's any rift between the quarterback and head coach Kenny Dillingham, said a second program source said. Leavitt's been at Arizona State for 2 seasons for Dillingham. He was the 2024 freshman newcomer of the year in the Big 12. Led Arizona State into the playoff. In 7 games this year, he's thrown for 1,628 yards and 10 touchdowns with 3 interceptions, 300 rushing yards, 5 touchdown runs. The one game that jumped out to me as I was looking at the game logs from Sam Leavitt was against Texas Tech, who's really got a good defense. 28 of 47 for 319 yards and a touchdown in that game. He has been impressive this year and is a proven talented passer. Now, if LSU were to get Kenny Dillingham, would Sam Leavitt follow? That's the kind of thing that makes some sense in this day and age in college football, of where you've got free agency in coaching, you got free agency in playing as well. And you feel like, based on the two working together the last 2 years, that could be a possibility. Now, I don't say that to immediately oust Michael Van Buren as LSU's starting quarterback. What I'll tell you is that right now, as I sit here in this chair on November the 18th of 2025, Garrett Nussmeier is out of eligibility in like a month and a half. Colin Hurley is not with the team. Michael Van Buren's the only scholarship quarterback you have. And so, yeah, he might be on the team next year, but he might not. Either way, you got serious issues at quarterback for the 2026 LSU football team, because there's not, I mean, you don't have one committed in this class. You don't have a backup that's a scholarship player on the roster. Like, Juwan Johnson is not a quarterback. And you've got Emil Picarella, a walk-on who's a freshman, who the coach is talking about yesterday is a guy that they feel like could come in and finish a game. But I don't know if that's somebody that you're counting on as a key piece to your future at the quarterback position. All this being said, like, you need a quarterback in the portal or 2. Depending on what Michael Van Buren does, depending on whether or not you can get a freshman in this class, like, your numbers at quarterback are unacceptable at this point. Now, Colin Hurley may come back. You may get a coach that can bring one in the portal. You may sign a high schooler. Like, there are avenues to make this work for LSU at quarterback. But a quarterback that's led his team to the playoff previously, that's been a conference newcomer of the year, that has experience with a coach that you potentially may court, that sounds to me like something that LSU might rather be interested in. A lot of dominoes have to fall at that point. Like, Lane Kiffin found a freaking quarterback at Ferris State, okay? So if you bring him in, I think you got a pretty good chance of finding a quarterback. I was writing for LouisianaSports.net the other day, and like, Trinidad Chambliss winning, Jackson Dart winning, go back to Matt Corral, won. Like, Kiffin is kind of one with whoever they threw up there in Oxford, and none of them have been Heisman winners or the first pick in the draft or the most talented player who ever set foot in Oxford. But he's kind of won. But if you don't have Lane Kiffin, even if you do, you got to get a quarterback. But if you don't, you got to prioritize that position for next year. It's one of the things that a new coach is going to have to help with. And if you hire Kenny Dillingham and his quarterback, who, let's face it, has had a nice college go for 2 years, I'm just guessing there's a little bit more of an appetite to spend NIL and revenue sharing at LSU than there is at Arizona State. That's a guess. I don't know what Kenny Dillingham and I don't know what Sam Leavitt commands in Tempe. I don't know. But I know that there's a little bit more passion and a little bit more money, generally speaking, flying around on the Gulf Coast. So to me, I'm going to file this one away and see what happens with Lane Kiffin moving forward. And if Lane Kiffin signs that extension with Ole Miss or Lane Kiffin picks Florida and the Dillingham buzz may start to build around here, just pull this one right out and go, oh, I forgot. 1-3 reported Sam Leavitt might be jumping in the portal. That may be some sort of a package deal. Again, I want to be clear. I don't know anything definitively about this. But this is a situation that LSU is about to find itself in. I will be flatline stunned if between now and January 15th, LSU does not get an established quarterback in through the portal. Stunned. That doesn't mean Michael Van Buren's leaving. That doesn't mean I don't think Michael Van Buren can play. That doesn't mean Colin Hurley's never coming back. But it's a revolving door at that position, and you have to make sure that you're adequately stocked. Because where LSU sits right now is dangerous. Now, it's almost impossible to predict in August that your starting quarterback's going to have a year-long oblique injury and your third-team quarterback is going to leave the team. That's going to put almost anyone in a bind. Nobody's got 5 good quarterbacks hanging around, and you can't go sign one off the practice squad like the NFL can. But you've got to do what you can to load up with the talent on that room. It's why you'd love to see LSU find a way to get a high schooler in, and you're definitely going to have to go into the transfer portal and get somebody. Garrett Nussmeier's gone, and right now, Colin Hurley just hasn't been around the football team a lot. He enrolled at 16 years old. He had the car accident and missed a spring. Now he's away from the team in the fall. And we're not here to speculate on anything that's going on with him. And if it's something that's off the field, it's a personal reason, like Frank Wilson said. That's far more important than football. But you've got to address that when the roster building portion of this comes to pass. And that's coming pretty quickly. So if they're telling me that Sam Leavitt's going in the portal, and you're also telling me that if I look at the Vegas odds that Kenny Dillingham is the most likely head coach at LSU based on those betting odds, well, it stands to reason there's a reasonable chance that Sam Leavitt could end up at LSU. Long way down the road. A lot of dominoes have to fall. But again, that's where we are. I could break down the Western Kentucky Hilltopper defense if you'd like. I can talk a lot about LSU Alcorn State, or we can go on to what this LSU football program looks like moving forward. And this could be. It's a reasonable number of dots to connect to say, hey, this could happen. So we'll see. Kenny Dillingham, Sam Leavitt, package deal, Baton Rouge, maybe. Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May of RE/MAX Partners, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi, buying a home, selling a home, buying some land, selling some land. Daryl May, RE/MAX Partners, happy to help you with that. We'll come back. Briefly, I will touch on LSU and Alcorn State basketball. Might even throw a little LSU baseball in. We'll play some Take It or Leave It and get out of here this Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. Look, the Highland Insurance Group knows that insurance is not the most fun topic of conversation, but it's important. And I myself, being in the industry for 7 years, I understand how important it can be to a business when something unforeseen happens. And you want to make sure when that does happen, car accident, cyber attack, as one of your employees clicked something they shouldn't have, maybe it's a lawsuit, maybe it's a storm, maybe it's a fire. You got to make sure that not only did you pay that good money for your premium up front, but that money's coming back to you because the policy was written properly. And at the Highland Insurance Group, they're going to take care of you. They're going to take care of their clients. They're going to make sure that the coverage is right. If you're a business owner, CFO, risk manager, you're in charge of handling your company's insurance program, and you want a second set of eyeballs on your renewal, the Highland Insurance Group would love to be that next best option for you. They're here in Baton Rouge. Jonathan Carbo and his team can help you out statewide. Go to the website, fill out that contact us information sheet, thehighlandig.com, highlandig.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May Remax Partners.
LSU and Alcorn State tonight from the PMAC. Just a couple of quick notes on it. Alcorn State is one of the worst teams in the country. They are 0-5. They've lost 3 of their games by more than 20 points. They rank worse than 300th in both points per game scoring and points allowed per game. They're very bad. They do not have anyone with real size on their roster. You're looking at a height around 6'8", weight under 200 pounds. Should be another game where Michael Nwoku, Jalen Reed, Robert Miller and company are able to just impose their will and dominate inside the paint, on the glass, at the foul line, where they've really imposed their will on bad teams. It's a bad pre-conference schedule for LSU until you get to next weekend, and this is just the next in line here. I'm enjoying watching Deion Thomas work LSU's offense. I know that LSU's not going to score 90 every time out. They're in the top 10 in the country in field goal percentage right now. That's not going to last. That's a action of them playing really bad competition, but I am fascinated watching Deion Thomas play, because I think his ability to run the offense and distribute is going to have to be something that LSU can lean on. They probably can't lean on scoring 93 a game and shooting 54% and all these statistics they've rolled up in 3 games, but I can watch him play and feel like he's the guy that stirs the drink for LSU. Robert Miller is another guy that I'm keeping my eyes on. He's done a great job getting to the free throw line and making those shots. He's 13 for 16 on free throws at 6'10" and 225 pounds. He also leads LSU in front court minutes. He's playing more than Jalen Reed and Michael Nwoku. Part of that's because they've been in foul trouble, and part of that's because LSU's gotten into blowouts, and he's been able to go out there and play in the mop-up duty. But he's a guy that gives them depth in the front court. They had no depth in the front court last year, none. And he gives them a little bit of that behind Jalen Reed and Michael Nwoku, so I'm hopeful to see a little bit more from him against an overmatched team tonight. And then there's one guy to watch on Alcorn State's team, Shane Lancaster, 6'4" guard, who is 14 for 25 from 3. That's 56%, and he made 7 of them against South Alabama. But again, terrible team that LSU's playing tonight in Alcorn State, and I expect it to get real sideways in the PMAC tonight. But I'm just kind of keeping an eye on them. Next Friday, they'll go to Destin, and they'll start that tournament. They'll play Drake. Georgia Tech is an option. They'll go to Boston College the following Wednesday. Texas Tech, SMU still to come. So there are some games to pay attention to with this team moving forward. Tonight, probably not one of them. You're going to get a pretty big beatdown in the PMAC against Alcorn State in this one. So that's a look there. Maybe talk a little LSU baseball tomorrow. Got a little bit more time, but today was just very heavy on Lane Kiffin because he's in the news and because everybody's talking about it. And then he went on the McAfee show, and that's kind of where we've been. So if you missed any of that, you can catch it on demand. Hunt on LSU is where all of our LSU coverage is filed. All right, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer. Everything you're looking for in a cold, light, delicious beer. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and you got that flavor from America's oldest brewery. It's Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
All right, so we're going to start this off with something not sports related. So
Okay.
Ford has reached a deal with Amazon to start selling certified used cars on Amazon's website. Buying a car off Amazon, take it or leave it.
Man, I'm going to leave it.
Leave it
I'm going
alone.
to buy my car from Genesis Baton Rouge.
Okay, yeah.
But
okay. Yeah.
That's, I'm good buying a pair of pants on the internet.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of people buy cars on the internet. That's very commonly done. It's just one of those deals like, I'd like to get behind the wheel. And I don't know if Amazon's driving it to your house and letting you do that or not.
That's
but
a good question. I don't know either.
That's one of the things I'd like to get in before I buy it. It's the car is one of your bigger purchases. To some, it's the biggest purchase.
Yeah.
So I'm it's just not. Hey, yeah, just send me that. It's good.
Yeah.
Like that's not where I am on the car.
Yeah, make sure my Prime's in so I can get it tomorrow. I need my car immediately tomorrow.
Get it to the driveway. I got work tomorrow.
Exactly. Okay, so the Blue Jays have emerged as the favorite to sign former Cub Kyle Tucker. Is this a good pickup for the Blue Jays? Take it or leave it.
I don't know that anyone knows that, but it would be a good pickup for them. I would take it. Yes, he is a very, very good player. He had a bad second half for the Cubs. All the Cubs fans soured on him. He got hurt, and he was terrible in the second half. But he's really good. He won the Silver Slugger based on just like 3 great months. He walks a ton. He hits the ball hard a ton. He was bad in the second half for the Cubs, and that probably cost him cost him $75-80 million. But it would be a good pickup for the Blue Jays. I'm not in the Cubs camp that just despises him because he had a bad 3 months.
Real fan. You're a real fan. Okay, so let's get a little grimy with this one. So South Carolina head coach Shane Beamer is already calling his shot for 2026. During a press conference on Tuesday, the 5th-year head coach boldly proclaimed the Gamecocks will be in the thick of next season's college football playoff hunt. Quote, I do know next year at this time we're going to be sitting here on this Tuesday night watching the playoff rankings to see where we are ranked. Will the Gamecocks make that leap next year? Take it or leave it?
Leave it.
Just leave it alone.
Yeah, I don't think so. Good run last year, solid team, good effort, and I don't think he's a bad. I don't think he's a bad option for South Carolina head coach, but they're not going to be good more often than not. They're going to be not good more often than not, with the ability maybe to be good in some points. I got to redo the entire offensive staff because he did a really bad job of hiring Mike Shula there. Lenore Sellers will likely be gone, which, positive, negative, whatever you want to call that. But they're not good. They have been bad in multiple years under him.
Yep.
It's a mediocre job, and he's a mediocre coach, and they're going to be a mediocre program. So no, I don't think they'll be in the playoff next year.
Hey, he's calling the shot, so that's it for take it or leave it.
That's it for take it or leave it here on this Tuesday. Reminder that we're brought to you by Daryl May of Remax Partners. If you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, Daryl is uniquely qualified to help you out with that. He spent 20 years in building, so he knows where good homes, what they look like, what they walk through like. He can help you with that buy, and he knows the market. He's been in Baton Rouge his entire life, born and raised here in the 225, now makes St. Francisville his home. So whether you're looking for a home in the city limits, if you're looking for a secondary home, or a home outside the hustle and bustle, Daryl's got you covered there. If you're looking for land, he can help you out with that. He's got great contacts in that market, Louisiana, Feliciana, up into Woodville, up to Natchez, and on the Mississippi Gulf Coast as well. Daryl May can help you out with that. He's with Remax Partners, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. So if you're looking to buy or sell house, land, commercial, any of that, Daryl May can help you out with that. All right, that's about it for us here on this Tuesday. It's been just a wild time. I would highly recommend y'all check us out over at LouisianaSports.net. We're keeping you updated as often as possible with all that's going on. I know that most of y'all are frantically refreshing your Twitter pages, frantically heading over to our station, heading over to the site, checking out the message boards, going to the group text, all that. And the truth is, we just don't really know when anything is going to break. It could happen at any time. We're ready, and we'll be prepared to make that happen. But it's we're keeping up to date with stories with Lane Kiffin over at the website. I've got one coming up on some of the potential staff hires that he could make or retain if he is the head coach. We've got his reaction from the Pat McAfee show. Chris Marlar's got a column up on why LSU is a good fit. He's also got a column up on what if Lane Kiffin left, what kind of dominoes would be put into place. Like, there's just a lot of coverage over there. So if you're looking to bide some time instead of just frantically refreshing Twitter, head over to LouisianaSports.net. As always, it is completely and totally free. If you missed any of today's show, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. I opened the show talking about the latest on this whole deal. We chatted with Sharif Ishak about the Saints and Falcons. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. Talked to Glenn West about the Tigers. Talked to Colin Jeter, former LSU tight end with the LSU Alumni Association, about the Tigers as well. That's all Hunt on LSU. A little bit of basketball talk here at the end. If you're missing our entire show, always archived at the Hunt Palmer Show. Wherever you find your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, you can always find us. Tomorrow's show, looking forward to that. We'll have JD Piquel, a host of the Hard Count on 3 Sports, on with us talking about all that's going on in college football, including the rankings that come out tonight. We'll certainly do my SEC football power rankings on tomorrow's show. Might get to some fall baseball, which I was able to go watch on Sunday. And there's a story up on LouisianaSports.net about that as well. We have a reaction to LSU and Alcorn State. And whatever is next on Twitter or wherever from Lane Kiffin, that's kind of where we are at this point. I'd love to start talking about LSU Western Kentucky. We might do that a little bit tomorrow. We might not. It just depends on what the news cycle does hold. So we appreciate y'all hanging out with us throughout the day here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I am out of here. Hope you have a wonderful and safe Tuesday. LSU and Alcorn State tonight. You can find that on Eagle 98.1 at 7 o'clock. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further View. We're back tomorrow for a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Hunt Palmer Show.